Wow, what a whirlwind the past 7 days have been. Legislators are drinking coffee and trying to stay awake during the policy hearings, which began again on Wednesday, February 14th, because since last Friday, those same legislators have been participating in floor debates and caucusing with their party to determine what their priorities are. Some of those debates went long into the night, like 2 a.m. long. On Monday and Tuesday night, we did get to see what the legislature's priorities were in terms of the 3 bills that we're following. So, remember, the Beaver bill has died for this legislative session, and due to the issues of time and money, the Democratic Party showcased that beaver ecosystems were not a priority issue this year. Although I did hear from the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife that they will be continuing to develop guidance on how best to live with beavers on your property. The second bill, the Environmental Crimes Bill, this one is an easier bill to prioritize for the Democratic Party because it does not cost any money to implement. Due to that non-controversial financial nature, it passed through the Senate without much controversy. And if you listened to the interview with Senator Trudeau last week, you know that she is dedicated to continuing discussing this issue with her coworkers in the House, where this bill now sits. It had its public hearing yesterday, on Valentine's Day, where nobody spoke up in opposition to the bill, and the proponents spoke to the importance of having specific language that judges can follow in civil and criminal cases. It has its executive session this morning at 8 a.m., passing with a vote of 9-6, strictly along party lines. Be sure to watch the public hearing and the executive session in the feed, as there were many interesting comments and conversations amongst representatives during the vote in the executive session. For the REWRAP Act, Democratic priorities and opposition from waste and recycling companies really got the better of this bill. As you remember from last week, the bill had made its way through the Policy and Fiscal Committees and was awaiting to be heard on the floor. And it had until Tuesday, February 13th at 5 p.m. to be brought up on the floor for the House vote. So let's go back in time to Tuesday to see what happened. It is an exciting day here in Olympia. It is February 13th. It is the day that all bills must make it through the House of Origin and be voted off the floor. They've been debating things on the floor all day, and I've been waiting to see if our bill 2049 is going to get called up for a vote. It's made it through the Rules Committee, so we know it can get called up for a vote, but that means that the Democratic Party leadership needs to put it on the docket so that people can vote on it. Now, they just need to be put on the order of consideration by 5 p.m. They need to be introduced by 5 p.m. And then the legislators might stay here until 2 in the morning, as they have been for the past couple of days, to actually vote it through. 5 p.m. bills are exciting because they're the ones that have a lot of controversy around them. 2049 does have a lot of controversy, but there are some other ones as well. And this needs to be part of the Democratic priority to get it passed. So I'm going to go inside that big, beautiful building right behind me, and we're going to see what bills are they debating and whether ours actually makes it. Here we are inside the Capitol building. That is the House chamber right over there, and it is currently at ease, meaning they're taking a break to caucus, to talk with one another, probably to decide which bills they are going to actually bring up to a vote. Okay, here we are in the House chambers. Now, as you can see, I'm going to show you here in a second that the House is currently at ease. I got up here and they're like, are you here for the 459 bill? Right? Because it's going to be exciting. Which bill is going to be the one? Party leadership will often save the most controversial, high priority one to bring right before 5 p.m. So we were there waiting to see if ours was going to be that one. Okay, it's starting to get louder and louder in here. It's 4:50, which means that we're getting closer and closer to the constitutional cutoff. Okay, there comes Speaker Jenkins. She's coming to the rostrum. They really are. It's 4:55, so they really are going to wait until the last final second to read the last bill into the record here, and then they will debate it. Word on the street is that it's going to be a rent control bill. Here we go.
Sixth order of business, we will consider the following bills in the following order. House Bill 2114, There are further.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We saw that it was the rent stabilization bill. It was not the RAP Act. So now we have to see, are there any other ways that the RAP Act can get into the budget this year? That's something that we can see, and as we follow the legislative process. Even though the bill did not pass, we still have scheduled an interview with the prime sponsor of the RERAP Act, Representative Berry, for next week to discuss her thoughts on what happened in this legislative session and what she's going to do for next year. So send your questions in. Legislative process-wise, bills are now being heard in the opposite chamber. So House bills are being heard in the Senate, and Senate bills are being heard in the House. Legislators continue to be busy, but they might actually be getting home for dinner now that they're predominantly off the floor and back in policy committees. We still have one bill alive, and remember, Thursday morning, February 15th, it passed out of its policy committee, and because it has no fiscal impact, it will be headed on to rules. Come back next week as the budget becomes the focus of the legislature. Remember, all passed laws need to have money. So next week, we'll be talking about that. Money, money, money. See you then.